meet some of us might know each other from their work or from other conferences, or maybe you live, maybe you're your neighbor, maybe you're living in the same city. But if you look around here, I think we have about 20-something people here in the room. I think let's assume that each one of them has like 3 years of experience in testing. I'll probably maybe add average. I'm an old guy, so maybe the average will go up a bit. But if you do the math, 25 people here times 3 years, that's 75 years of experience. Add my experience on top of that, maybe you've got about 100 years of experience here in this room in testing you can tap into. So I'm going to say a lot of things today, but equally important, please do share your stories internally, communicate, exchange ideas and business cards, because when the conference is over, it's not over. Basically, this is when you get started. Yeah, and this is network can help you achieve these things going forward. All right. So today we're going to cover a lot of slides. Actually, I'm going to hand you these things and the slides out. So in case you want to make notes on the slides themselves, you'll be able to put your notes directly on the slides. There'll be a number of exercises. Now, I have more exercises than we'll be able to cover in 4 hours. So the idea is basically that some exercises, we'll not go through them in details, but when you go back, you'll be able to complete some of those. Yes? So don't worry if throughout the day, you'll not be able to cover all of them. It's impossible to go through all the exercises in the 4 hours that we have. Thank you. All right, now throughout the day, basically we're going to cover a few things. One is, of course, what is risk? This is why you're here. Identify principles to manage product risk. We're going to discuss the concept of different risk, project risk, product risk, process risk. Today we're going to focus on product risk. I'm going to explain in a few minutes why. Then obviously, how can you incorporate the risk into your strategy, into your tactics on the daily work? We're going to have some exercises with some realistic examples actually. Some of them are taken from projects that are resembling what you're doing on a daily basis, I would say. Then we're going to discuss risk-based testing in the context of different software development models, including Agile. A lot of you might have been discussing, we want to implement Agile, you've already started the journey, you want to implement DevOps. How does risk-based testing apply to that context as well? As mentioned, we're going to cover a number of case studies and examples. So here I have digital handouts with exercises that are going to be distributed throughout the day. And last but not least, we're going to take a step back and look at what is the risk of risk-based testing on its own. Because there are also some, there are benefits, but there are also some limitations and constraints that we need to be aware of. All right. So some of the logistics, this is just my checklist. Training, you're in the right room, it's risk-based testing, so I hope you're here and you know that this is the right place to be. Myself, I just did my introduction. Participants, now we're all friends, you know each other, at least you have some information that will enable you to engage with discussions with your fellow testers in the room. In terms of breaks and hours, we're going to continue till 1 o'clock. There'll be one break. The break is going to be at 10:30. Right, and there'll be some coffee and pastry and stuff outside, just outside the room. All right. Any last questions, comments from you before we get started? I see we got another participant here, so I have this for you. Thanks for joining. All right. So you remember, we're here for 4 hours, yeah? Now, I do not intend to talk for 4 hours. Otherwise, talk about risk-based testing, there's a risk of you falling asleep, or there's a risk of you hitting your head once it falls on the table. Yeah? So please ask questions. I do encourage you, if there are any kind of comments along the way, if you want to share your opinions, you might say, okay, this is fine, but in my work, I do it a different way. How can we apply it in my work? Please ask those questions. All right. You've seen this slide. Some of you have you been to my keynote the first day? All right. I started with this one. basically an idea was, what is the value we're getting out of testing? Yeah? And you've probably already seen that. Basically, we put some software into the process, and then we invest a lot in tools, processes, resources, skills, and what comes out is actually basically the same software. Why? Because in testing, we're not changing the software itself. It is the developers who are doing it. Sometimes, you might find a lot of defects, report them. Project management, developers say, sorry, we'll eject those and keep them for the next release. Yes. Might be other occasions where they say, oh, thank you very much, I'm going to fix that immediately, but that is very important to fix before it goes live. Now the point is, as mentioned during my keynote, is that we're all information providers. Now, if we're providing good information, it means that we're enabling the stakeholders to make good decisions. Yes? Now, these decisions, think about it, the best way they can make a decision is to understand what is the risk of releasing the software or not releasing it at any particular point in time. This is how it relates to risk-based testing. All right, let's have a couple of definitions in place. First of all, what is testing? And those of you who have taken the ISTQB certification might have seen that definition is coming from a lot way. Actually, I think I have a typo. It should have said 3.1 actually, latest glossary. I think the point is, if you look at some people approach testing and think testing is just about executing scripts. Yeah, a script, you follow the script, pass, fail, next test, report defects, and retest after fixing the defects. Yeah. But the point is, according to ISTQB, is testing is not only that; it's the entire life cycle. Let me highlight a few points. The entire life cycle, meaning going from requirement specification, gathering new specification, to detailed design, coding, to unit testing, integration testing, system testing, UAT, and even sometimes past release. I'll explain that also later. Both static and dynamic. It's not only about executing test cases, but there's also an element of static testing. And maybe I'll just ask you guys, what is the difference between static and dynamic testing? Anyone?
Static that is not requiring compiling the code.
That's correct.
And dynamic is compiling code. Running using the running code.
Thank you. Very correct. Static basically you could do without having any kind of system or code running. Dynamic, you need to interact with the system. This is the main difference. And it includes the process of planning, preparation, evaluation of the software product, and this is what important area we're going to focus on today, as well as other related work products to determine whether we can satisfy the specified requirements. So there's a tie back to requirements. Now these requirements might be explicit in the sense that you have a requirement specification document and you can link the testing directly back to that. Okay. Thanks for joining. Or it might be implicit. You probably know this. I've seen sometimes, I don't know how it is at your, but at the organizations, but I've seen many cases where you get the requirement specification in, for example, a few pages, knowing that there are a lot that's not been captured in that. Some of it might even be sitting in the heads of the people. Yeah? What is the requirement? What is the requirement specification? And they point you at this guy sitting over in the corner. He has requirements, yeah. And you're going there and asking him the questions because he knows, she knows, yeah. This is the reality. And the idea is, of course, behind testing two things. One, satisfying specific requirements. Then, determining that the products are fit for purpose. And this again goes a bit with my talk per se about specifying fitness for use. Last one, a lot of things detecting defects. A lot of what we do is about making sure that we can identify as many and as early as possible throughout the life cycle, and hopefully get them to fix as many as possible. All right. So again, taking a step back. what are the main value of testing? We mentioned that, it's about providing information, but through our testing, what happens? Get a new software to test, do the testing. As mentioned, the software still doesn't change. The only thing that changes is you. It is the insight that you have on the system. Yeah? So, through testing, you're getting a look under the hood about the quality of the system. Testing should provide vital information to stakeholders, as mentioned, and we discussed before. Our key role is that we are service providers and we provide that information to the stakeholders so they can make good decisions. Testing can help a manager mitigate risk. We'll discuss how this is one of the core activities today. And of course, it can also highlight important issues and problems to fix. It might be, as mentioned, something that is not specified requirements. Maybe, for example, you're testing it, saying, I'm experiencing actually the system is very, very slow when I do a certain transaction. Requirement specification doesn't say anything about that. Is that normal or not? I might report it, or I might go and discuss whether my fellow developer discuss if this is normal behavior or it's something that we should look into. Last but not least, testing is also extremely important in addressing compliance, contractual aspects, regulatory needs. There might be requirements coming from your internal department. There might be requirements coming from the outside. For example, in the banking and insurance space, in the life sciences space, you know that there are certain regulations you need your software and products need to comply with. And the only way we can prove that is by doing the testing and documenting the evidence that we have been able to comply with that particular requirement. All right. Now, again, just to set the scene before going into the core of our talk, one of my heroes is a guy whose name is Boris Pfizer. You heard about this guy? He's one of the famous testers, actually. He's an old guy now. He's retired, but he started to talk about testing back in the 60s and 70s. He was one of the pioneers. Now, I find myself often going back to his books. Now, his books, he has written a lot of books. He's very heavy books. And typically, if I find difficulty sleeping, I take one of his books because, it's very dry, very theoretical. So 3 pages, then you're done. Yeah? So you can have a good night's sleep afterwards. Now, what's interesting about this guy is also that he has written a number of science fiction novels as well, and published those under a different name. So if you look at Ethan E. Shedley, it's actually the same guy. So it's a different kind of, he was a very interesting chap. I had the pleasure of meeting him back in the 90s. Last century. All right, so what we said was, when we talk about maturity of testing, there are different levels. First maturity level is at level phase 0. This is where you don't have any testing. So people will be looking at who compiles. Software compiles. So the main purpose here is that your testing is debugging the code. This is level 0. Now, phase 1 is to test to show that the software works. Let me ask you, what is the easiest way of achieving this? Right, small. Well, run a few test cases so that it does what it's supposed to do. Yeah. What is the downside? Sorry?
Don't cover everything.
You don't cover everything. Why? Because if your objective is just to show that it works, you'll be thinking, what is the least that I can do to show that it works? Yeah? Now we said that phase 2 is to show that it doesn't work. Now imagine to yourself that I tell you, you need to prove to me that the software doesn't work. This is where your goal is actually to demonstrate, try whatever you can in order to show that it doesn't work. Yeah? So obviously you'll be creating a lot more test cases, you'll be more thorough compared to phase 1. Now, what is the downside of that? Anyone?